Um, this is Jim Nabors. Those from my age group or later who are not familiar with Jim Nabors, he played Gomer Pyle. Uh, if any of you are familiar with Gomer Pyle, which was a black and white sitcom. Uh, and his speaking voice, his real speaking voice actually wasn't too far from the goofy Gomer Pyle voice that he used in the show. Despite the fact that his voice sounded like that, he had an absolutely gorgeous operatic singing voice. One of those, you know, it's like you listen to him talk and you're like, there's no way he could ever hold a tune to save his life, but he's actually a very beautiful opera singer, and this is a record of some of his songs. It's called Love Me With All Your Heart. Cuando calienta el sol. So it's Jim Nabors sings. So it's, you know, some of his popular songs, I believe. This could just be a regular album. It looks like it actually is just an original album, not like a greatest hits or anything. It's a mono record put out by Columbia, number CL2558. It's in good shape. And even though I'm not like a huge fan or anything, I do recommend people who are interested, just as an interesting little oddity, to watch a clip of Gomer Pyle and then find a clip of him singing so that you can hear the difference. It is pretty stunning. This is not a double album, just a fold-out album. This is Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Golden Greats, so it's a greatest hits album. Not that I recall Gary Lewis and the Playboys having enough songs to have more than one greatest hits album, really, but this is the album. I did see Gary Lewis and the Playboys about 13 or 14 years ago in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, at a fair that was going on there. And it was a pretty good time, I have to admit. If you don't know, Gary Lewis is the son of comedian Jerry Lewis, by the way. That's the inside, because it's a fold-out, but there is only one record in it. And the record's in good shape. This is put out by Liberty, and it is number LST7468. Let's see. I'm kind of skipping over holiday records for the end as well. I mean, because they're pretty specialty. You know, I've got like maybe 3 or 4 Christmas records in here. Really famous Christmas records, I suppose. A couple of them. Another Glenn Campbell album. I guess Glenn Campbell is going to be the one that we have the most of in here by the looks of it, considering that I'm near the end at this point, and I've already had about 5 of his records, 4 or 5. This is Galveston. It is number ST201, put out by Capitol Stereo. This is the front here. Now, despite the fact that there's a lot of Glenn Campbell in here, and Glenn Campbell's not necessarily someone, you know, that anyone in my age group would care about, he is kind of topical at the moment because he just canceled his tour due to the fact that he is suffering from Alzheimer's. And thusly, his condition is, you know, not going to improve unless they make more strides in Alzheimer's medicine very soon. But however, he is putting out a new album, I guess. So, you know, good for him. If he can't tour, he might as well make a record. This has one scratch on one side that goes through 2 songs, and it's definitely a scratch that you would hear on the song. Next, we have an album that I am really not surprised to see in my mother's collection. This kind of like I said, Patty Duke is about as white bread as you can get. This actually is probably the white bread poster boy, though. And I can probably put his picture up, and anyone from my mother's age group knows who he is immediately just by looking at his picture. But this is Pat Boone. So yeah, definitely Mr. Whitebread. Pat's Great Hits Volume 2 is in here. This is the back. So, Pat Boone, of course, a staple, particularly of that era. Sort of, in between 50s rock and roll and 60s rock and roll. Because there were a lot of teen idols during that interim period. What was it, 1959 or so, around the time that Buddy Holly died, up until, and Elvis went into the army and stuff, up until about the time that that the British invasion happened, basically. Up until the Beatles. That interim period is kind of ruled by these guys. Now, I don't know specifically why, because I swear I didn't listen to this record a lot. But despite the fact that this record doesn't appear to have any scratches or anything, this is the most fingerprint-covered record I've come across so far by, like, 3 times over the next closest one. Oh, by the way, this is a Dot record, not surprisingly. And I didn't know if I mentioned earlier that Dot is a subsidiary of Paramount Pictures. For all the other records that I have here that were Dot records. And the number on this record is not on it, it would seem. DLP 3261 is the number on this. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we are nearing the end. Alright, I really don't. This is, an interesting record. This is a record by Promenade. It is Baron von Liszt playing Strauss waltzes. Obviously I know who Strauss is, I know the waltzes, and Baron von Liszt could be a name I recognize, or it could just be because it's a German sounding name or whatever, and I love names like that. I don't really know. But I don't really know, like, where this, I'm sure this record probably came out of my grandmother's collection. It looks like a record from from one of those artist series, or kind of like those Carmen records that I had earlier. You know, almost like some sort of like a library type of record. You know, made to educate people about the music. That's sort of what it looks like to me. The next one is The Very Best of Roy Orbison. I love Roy Orbison. He has just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous voice. I totally agree with Bruce Springsteen, who pretty much said that he has a voice that sounds ethereal, like it's coming otherworldly, from otherworldly. His voice always had that really nice quality to it. And it amazes me that he almost didn't ever sing, because he was writing songs for other people, and they were telling him that he should be singing them himself. This record does appear to have one nasty, small scratch that goes almost entirely through one song and halfway through another on one side. I don't think it would cause it to skip, I'm not sure, but it's definitely one you'd hear. This record is by Monuments. It is SLP 18045. So that's that one.